There is a lone and broken Russian submarine limping home from patrol. What a change from the 1984 Tom Clancy novel, The Hunt for Red October. Today, it seems more like the hunt for the nearest mechanic. We should not underestimate the threat from Russia, but we should not overestimate Russia's capabilities either. We all want to see peace and security in the Middle East, and therefore, of course, we also hope that this will repeat itself in Europe as soon as possible, because we still have a lot of work to do in Europe. We live in a dangerous world, and the threat is not something that's held at a distance. The risks to our security have reach.
Speaking in Ljubljana on the 13th of October 2025, NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte addressed the NATO Parliamentary Assembly, calling for renewed unity, higher defense investment, and stronger resilience against global security threats. Rutte opened by welcoming the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, announced following President Donald Trump's visit to Israel, calling it a good day for peace and stability. He expressed hope that such progress could soon be mirrored in Europe, where a lot of work remains to secure the continent.
Today, I believe, is a good day for peace and stability. As we know, President Trump, he arrived in Israel to mark the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas and the release this morning of hostages. So I believe this is great news. We all want to see peace and security in the Middle East, and therefore, of course, we also hope that this will repeat itself in Europe as soon as possible, because we still have a lot of work to do in Europe. But we can build on this success. I'm absolutely confident. First, I also want to pay tribute to Lord Campbell, who served with distinction in the NATO Parliamentary Assembly for over 3 decades. Ming, as he was known, was a great champion of NATO and the transatlantic bond. He leaves an outstanding legacy and will be remembered fondly. It is a pleasure to be here in Ljubljana with you for our first discussion since the NATO summit in The Hague. We took historic decisions to make NATO stronger, fairer and more lethal. As Russia, China, North Korea and Iran work together to try to reshape the global order. Russia now allocates 40% of its budget to its war economy. And this year alone, it is expected to roll out at least 1,500 tanks, 3,000 armored vehicles and hundreds of Iskander missiles. China, too, is rapidly expanding its military capabilities, including its nuclear arsenal. NATO is stepping up. Allies are committed to investing 5% of GDP on defense, both for core defense spending as well as defense and security-related investments. European allies and Canada are now on a trajectory to equalize their defense investment with the United States. When everyone contributes their fair share, we are all more secure. At The Hague, we committed to rapidly expand defense production across the alliance, so that our armed forces have the capabilities they need to keep our deterrence and defense strong today and in the future. At the summit, we also reaffirmed NATO's enduring support for Ukraine, so that it can defend itself against Russia today, be in a strong position for any peace negotiations, and be able to deter any Russian aggression in the future. And since the summit, NATO has launched a new initiative to support Ukraine, the Prioritized Ukraine Requirement List, or PEARL. And this is supplying essential, lethal and non-lethal military equipment that only the US can provide to Ukraine, paid for by allies. $2 billion of equipment so far has moved in this way. It is not only keeping Ukraine in the fight, it is saving lives. And this is just in the first 2 months of PEARL. More will follow soon, and we must keep up the tempo. And I know that also President Zelensky this morning addressed Pearl in his address to this audience. On increased defense investment, production and support for Ukraine, I count on all of you as parliamentarians to make the case with your publics and to encourage your governments to keep up with their commitments. You all play a vital role to keep NATO's 1 billion people safe. And I want to thank you for everything you are doing on this.
Rutte thanked NATO parliamentarians for mobilizing public and political backing for these efforts, underscoring the immediacy of modern threats. The new generation of Russian missiles can reach European capitals in minutes, he said, also citing drone warfare, cyber attacks, and undersea sabotage as growing dangers.
We live in a dangerous world, and the threat is not something that's held at a distance. The risks to our security have reach. The new generation of Russian missiles can reach European capitals in a matter of minutes. The disruptive power of drones, sabotage of undersea infrastructure, the security of cyberspace. All of us are affected, East and West alike. And with these challenges to our security, we see yet again why it is so essential that we work together in NATO. When it comes to Russia's reckless and dangerous violations of our airspace, we have seen that NATO's response was quick and effective. We are doing what we trained for, and it works. But we need to do more. And that's why, within 36 hours after Russian drones entered Polish airspace last month, we launched Eastern Sentry, with more forces in the air, on land and at sea. It gives NATO additional strength and flexibility across the eastern flank or wherever needed, whenever needed. And it will incorporate innovative technologies and tactics designs to deal with new challenges like, for example, drones. NATO defense ministers are meeting this week and will engage on how best to further strengthen our deterrence and defense posture, including in light of recent incidents. They will discuss plans for reaching the new defense investment target, as well as efforts to increase defense production. And all of this helps to ensure that we remain ready and able to defend our citizens. We should not underestimate the threat from Russia, but we should not overestimate Russia's capabilities either. Despite their posturing, they have failed to meet their ambitions, and at an incredible cost. More than 1 million Russians killed or seriously injured. In 2022, Russia thought it could crush Ukraine within days. In the 4th year of its brutal war, Russia is struggling to advance. Russia's military is stretched there and elsewhere. Its Mediterranean task force was once a mix of surface ships, submarines, and support vessels. Now, in effect, there is hardly any Russian naval presence in the Mediterranean left. There is a lone and broken Russian submarine limping home from patrol. What a change from the 1984 Tom Clancy novel, The Hunt for Red October. Today, it seems more like the hunt for the nearest mechanic. But while Russia is not as strong as it would pretend, it remains deeply dangerous. And that is why it is absolutely essential that we ensure we are prepared. Russia conducts a covert campaign against our societies and attempts to undermine our support for Ukraine. Russia's list of targets for sabotage is not limited to critical infrastructure, the defense industry and military facilities. It even includes public spaces. 15 people were charged last month after devices hidden in parcels were detonated across Europe last year. Russia also continues to carry out cyber and espionage operations against our countries. This summer, the United Kingdom exposed the use of sophisticated spying software by Russian military intelligence. The home front and the front line are now one and the same. And this is why, as part of the The Hague Defence Investment Plan, we will invest more to protect critical infrastructure, defend our networks, strengthen our resilience, and enhance civil preparedness. As parliamentarians, you have an important role in raising awareness about the need for civil preparedness. The more our citizens know now, the more able we are to face any threat. Our militaries and societies are in this together. Let us continue to stand strong together in NATO to keep our 1 billion people safe.